But is it true that this investigation started during the Biden administration?
I don't know the details. I do know that, Trump was coming after my husband back when Biden was president and Biden was running for the presidency, and I thought it was ironic. So, look, this is a fishing expedition, and I think what you're saying is that it's just been going on for a long time. My husband is Trump's most outspoken critic, and he's the GOP's biggest, I don't know. They've always targeted my husband.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Let us talk about Newsom, who is Gavin Newsom's wife. And she went on MSN Now, of all places, where she was confronted in regards to all the lies that her and her husband has been spreading online, saying that President Trump has targeted her and Gavin Newsom, which is completely false because the investigation actually started under President Joe Biden. And then she continued to lie, saying that Trump targeted Newsom when Joe Biden was president. And the question is, how is that even possible? And the reason why they're doing this is because they both know that they're cooked at this point, because the Department of Justice is closing in on both of them, even though it's the wife that's being investigated. And here we have Mrs. Newsom continuing to try and distract from this investigation by claiming that her and Gavin Newsom is a threat to the GOP and they're trying to save democracy. You just cannot make this stuff up.
And so I guess in that regard, we're a threat to the GOP. But right now we're focused on California, and we're focused on saving our democracy because clearly we have an unhinged leader who is coming at his political enemies and trying to intimidate us all, sow fear, distrust, and chaos. And we have to right this ship, not just in our country, but for the world. The world is looking at us going, what is going on in America right now, or in the United States of America right now? And they're extremely concerned, and it's destabilizing. And so
I would like her to name me one country around the world that's looking at her and Gavin Newsom to save them or to save democracy. I don't even think Americans are looking towards them to save them from anything, because she's the one under investigation for allegedly committing fraud. And here we have a video explaining some shady dealings that Mrs. Newsom, Gavin Newsom's wife, is involved with. Play clip.
40 million diapers, as many diapers will be distributed this year as Californians.
That was Governor Gavin Newsom about 2 months ago at a press conference announcing California's new free diaper program and a multi-million-dollar contract with the nonprofit Baby to Baby. But immediately critics pointed out that his wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, also had a relationship with at least one of the co-CEOs.
Sits on Jen's board of directors. Gavin Newsom is claiming there was this huge, rigorous process to figure out which group to partner with for this free diaper program. But was it really a rigorous process if you're best friends with the CEO of this company?
So we did a little fact check, and you should definitely go check out the story we did last month. But we could only go so far.
So far, the state will not give us a copy of the contract or the competitive bid scoring sheet.
4 days after that very high-profile press conference, we simply asked the governor's office for a copy of that contract that everyone was talking about. They told us, reach out to California Health and Human Services. They told us the contracts were with yet another agency. That agency told us our request had been received. That means legally they had a maximum of...
I'll save you some time there. So basically they're trying to get the records to see what the bidding process was and to see if Mrs. Newsom had anything to do with that contract being awarded to the specific vendor. And there's been plenty of reports out there suggesting that this is not the only instance where you had some shady stuff going on in California in regards to Governor Gavin Newsom and his wife. It's one of the reasons why she's actually under investigation, or that's what's being reported. And here we have a video. Actually, before I show you this one, we have a video of Ana Navarro over at CNN trying to claim that there's no way Gavin Newsom could be guilty of fraud. And Scott Jennings had to shut her down. Watch this.
Hard to imagine that a guy who's been fantasizing about running for president as long as Newsom has would be reckless enough to not have crossed every T, dotted every I, particularly knowing that Donald Trump weaponizes his government against his enemies and would not have, been very judicious about things like tax filings of him and his family.
Well, you're saying that you find it hard to believe that Gavin Newsom hasn't been or wouldn't have been reckless?
Their taxes are publicly available.
I mean, I think his years of personal judgment would indicate otherwise.
I don't understand the argument that President Trump weaponized the DOJ to go after Gavin Newsom, because we know that this investigation started under President Joe Biden. So there's no reason for Ana Navarro to sit there and claim that President Trump is targeting Gavin Newsom. That is completely false. And CNN calls itself a news organization. And that is not the only thing that the Newsoms they're doing to try and distract from this investigation. That was started under Biden. Biden was investigating Newsom. And here we have Newsom calling for the removal of President Trump because of the speech he made last night, exposing all the issues surrounding our elections. Let's take a look at what Gavin Newsom has to say. Watch this.
Well, the only thing missing tonight in Donald Trump's speech was tinfoil. This was a legitimate 25th Amendment moment, the ramblings of a mad king. Don't get me wrong, foreign interference in our elections, that's a real thing. Nothing about what you watched tonight, though, was real. It's make-believe. He wants to rig the election in 2026. He knows he's going to lose.
It just doesn't make sense to me, the argument that the Democrats are making. They're saying, well, foreign interference in our election is an issue. And it might be happening, but we shouldn't care about it because President Trump is saying it. If it was anyone else, if it was a Democrat, then we should care about it. But because it's President Trump, it is the ramblings of a madman. But let us not be distracted by Gavin Newsom because, as I mentioned before, they're trying to distract from their investigation, him and Siebel Newsom. And they'll do anything to try and generate support among Democrats. And we all know that Gavin Newsom is going to try to run in 2028. But not all Democrats are on board, because here we have a Democrat rejecting Governor Gavin Newsom and his policies and what he's been doing to flip-flop back and forth on a lot of issues.
I don't know about all that, but I will concede that Gavin Newsom's leadership in California has been a complete and utter disaster. As a Californian, I 100% have experienced he's out to lunch, right? Like, he changes his ideology depending on what he thinks is fresh and what's hip at any given moment. 76% of Californians voted in favor of something known as Prop 36, which is to roll back some of the soft on crime policies. That requires funding. He has been pushing back against adequately funding the efforts to essentially roll back those policies to ensure that people
you're for his more pro-crime strategy. You're for the more pro-crime fighting strategy. Just to be clear.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's important. So you think it's important to have the investments in fighting crime. Okay. Because
100%. Yes.
Because a big challenge among some of the left has been not supporting that in the past. So you're saying he's not.
They're wrong.
He's not doing enough to fight
I think
crime.
the left wanted prison reform. The left wanted better police training. The left wanted real reforms where people aren't getting shot as they're running away from cops and unarmed. What we got instead is the premature closure of 4 prisons. Gavin Newsom is preparing to shut down the 5th state prison. As a result, the county prisons are full to the brim of inmates, basically. And then what they do is they end up releasing people early because they don't have room for them. So Gavin Newsom, and that's just one of the issues I have with Gavin Newsom. Another issue is $24 billion in California taxpayer money gone. It was supposed to help the homeless. It didn't help the homeless. It got funneled to all these nonprofits.
Finally, we have some Democrats coming to their senses. And that was Ana Kasparian. I think that's how you say her last name. And she works for the Young Turks. I think that's how you say it, TYT, which is a radical left-wing media organization. And here she's torching Gavin Newsom. And this is what I like to see, Democrats coming to their senses. And that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know what you think in the comment section below in regards to Mrs. Newsom being confronted about the lies that her and Gavin Newsom has been spreading. Also, please consider liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.